We start that off. Best way to start something, you can sit down now. Best way to start something off is with gratitude. Life's crazy right now. There's crazy things happening in the world, and we just got through a 2-year pandemic, and there's more craziness. So start everything out with gratitude. I am very, very grateful for these 4 gentlemen. Yes, there's 4. I know there's just 3 standing up here. Todd's on Zoom. So I'm grateful for you gentlemen taking time out of your day. 2 of you traveled several hours to be here. Travis, play along. So you guys traveled, you took time out of your day. We really appreciate that. So we're going to have a good time. What we're going to talk about today is all 4 of these gentlemen have built and they run very successful teams. They run it from different perspectives. They've all had different experiences. So our goal here today is for you to gain some of their knowledge through questions that we will ask. We'll have a little Q&A here the last 10 to 15 minutes. What I'm going to do first is go ahead and we're going to have to pass this along. Let's start with Todd since he's on Zoom. If you all will introduce yourselves, your team, give us your numbers for last year and your goal for this year.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Todd Paxton with the Paxton Group. Been an agent 19 years. Have had a team 10 years almost, 9 years, 10 years. You want sales numbers from last year, right?
Yes, sir.
Volume, let's see, 33 million, 144 units. GCI, for the first time in 6 years, we were just shy of $1 million. So MREA for 5 out of the last 6 years. So just shy of $1 million. Goal this year, 1.2, 42 million. And we're well above on track right now.
Awesome. Mr. Gwynn, you next, sir?
Yeah. Thomas Gwynn, Live Life Homes. Been in the business for 7 years, had a team for about 4 years. Last year we sold 83 homes, did a volume at about 18 million. Our goal this year is 150 homes at 36 million is our team goal for this year.
Cool. Awesome. Mr. Danny Barron.
Awesome. So I have only been in the business 3.5 years. Last year we did just over 150 homes and just over 40 million. So we are pretty pumped to be shooting for the stars this year. We'd love to break 200 units is our goal. Cincinnati market, Cincinnati and Dayton. And it is going to kill me to be sitting this whole time. Holy smokes, guys. Dana Gentry is here. This is amazing. Yeah, I am incredibly high energy, so it's going to kill me to be sitting here, but I'll do my best to stay seated. Our team was built with the intention of starting a team. So when I got my license 3.5 years ago, there was never hey, I want to be on my own. It was always, how do I follow the models that have been in place to build the team? So excited to share some of that today.
Awesome.
Just don't punch me when you get up and start.
No elbows.
Travis Cox with Livian. I've been in the business for 10 years. Last year we did a little over 42 million, 183 units, and 1.16 in GCI.
Awesome, guys. So sitting here right before you, you all have well over close to 4 million in GCI and well over 200 million in volume. So some very, very good expertise, and you're going to get a little bit of outside our area with Danny and Travis too. So super excited about that. So let's start from the beginning, guys. Todd, how did your team start? Why did you build a team? Tell us how it all got started.
So I used to wipe strangers' butts for a living as a nurse and a nurse's aide, and decided, hey, being a nurse's aide wasn't quite fun. Went into nursing, became an LPN and then RN in the ICU. Did some travel assignments, lived in Hawaii, St. Thomas, California. And then I just realized, oh, this is kind of boring. Read a wonderful book, Robert Kiyosaki, Before You Quit Your Job. Talked about the safety and security of a job or the freedom and flexibility of a career. And I just decided I want to do something different. And this was, again, 20 years ago. I made the decision. So we didn't have all the tools and resources that we have today. It was basically like, oh, I think I want to be a real estate agent. I like helping people. So started with a local independent brokerage part-time, then was working like 1 day a week at the hospital. Stopped that eventually, kind of got the hang of it. I was selling 36 houses a year. I was like, man, this is awesome. And then 2013, I was still at that brokerage, sold 100 homes by myself that year. Before the word really team was here in Southern Indiana. That brokerage, great friends still today, but they weren't really set up for the team model, so to speak, like Keller Williams. And Keller Williams had just come to our market a year or two before. So the whole hire an assistant, listings, leads, leverage, that was all new because I know two things: how to work hard and to take care of people. Now, Keller Williams has taught me to do it all more efficiently. And then we quickly hired an assistant, 2 buyer's agents when that was, we don't have buyer's agents, they're all sales agents now initially, and then decided, well, I might as well just go to Keller Williams to learn more. So that's kind of the trajectory of how that has worked. And we've had as many as, I don't know, 20 people on the team. Now we're running a little differently. So we'll get into that maybe later on. But yeah, just got bored, man. Just got bored.
Awesome. So you built yours, basically you grew it organically in some
100%.
cases. So you started, and we'll make some reference, folks, if you don't understand, just ask me afterwards, GCI acronyms, things like that. Just stop me and ask, or ask afterwards what that means. And when we say organically, Todd's business got to the point he needed to outsource, he needed leverage, he needed other agents to take things off of him.
The first time I ever heard about buying leads was when I think Craig and Misty took me to Mega Camp, and they're up on stage talking about Zillow and paying Realtor.com. I was like, what does that even mean? I had no clue what that means. Still to this day, we don't buy a whole bunch of leads. It's just not really how we do things. And, you know, there's definitely success to be had there, but that was a new thing. So we just belly to belly, man. It's a contact sport, plain and simple.
Awesome. Thomas, how did you guys get your start?
Yeah. So started in real estate 7 years ago. Did a bunch of things in my 20s. Worked at coffee shops, did a bunch of different things. Had a marketing company before I went into to real estate, where I was doing marketing for a few people locally here in the area, as well as running some websites for machine tool companies in different places in the U.S. Before I got into real estate. As you guys know, marketing is incredibly competitive. You don't make a whole lot for the amount of work that you do, and so it made a natural sense for me to kind of get into real estate, because I thought, well, hey, I could market myself. So for the first 3 years, I was in the business as a single agent. Then my wife Allie Gwynn, ended up coming on as an agent as well. And shortly after that, we transitioned into, for a little while, into Gwynn Group. And it was about 6 months, not very long into that, it really hit me that we wanted our brand to resonate something bigger than just me. And just our name. And so we switched that to Live Life Homes, and have been doing that for about 4 years now. So for us, it's been a journey of just realizing who we are and who we want to become. We got into the business, I got into the business in the same that, you know, I always wanted to be a part of a team, always wanted to be a part of that culture. It's just figuring out what culture and what we wanted that to be was the most important thing to me. So
Danny and Todd said it grew organically.
Sure.
You got into this business saying, hey, 3 years, I want to start a team.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit how you guys got started, and tell us like how that's evolving so quickly with that intentionality.
Yeah. One of the fun parts of this actually is a recent transition to Keller Williams in Dayton. The Gillen Group is actually how I got super interested in running a team. So Ryan Gillen was a friend of mine. I had a background in market research. So you talk about the marketing branding aspect of putting yourself out there and being able to navigate that. So I had that research from doing work with Procter & Gamble, Johnson & Johnson, some of those companies, and realized traveling forever, not having a family, that was just not going to be for me. Writing reports, stick me in a room alone for a week and I am ready to just pass out forever. Like I'm not built for that. I'm built for people. So getting into custom building was a piece of just knowing a guy from my church that reached out and said, hey, I think you'd be really good at this. our preferred realtor was Ryan Gillen. So I got to know Ryan and watched him running his team at 28 years old, driving a sweet car, playing golf when he wanted. And to be honest, well, the golf that was a big appeal to me, but just watching what he did and the energy he got from it, and seeing that someone at my age at that point, he was a year ahead of me with age. And I was like, I could be doing that. And that looks so much better than everything I've done so far. And it was the first time I think you have that moment in life where you see somebody and you're like, that is what I want to do. And maybe not everybody's had that moment yet, but I was blessed to have that at 26, 27 years old. And it was Ryan Gillen, who was with Irongate at the time and just switched to Keller a month ago. So awesome to be able to share that with him now, and to know everybody on his team and love them as well. But seeing that and just going, I'm not getting into real estate and shifting out to go make money for myself or to work and do every aspect of this job myself. I'm doing it because I know I can end up being a leader of a team, strategically using the marketing knowledge I have, strategically using my background, and now this newfound knowledge from working for a custom home builder, which I knew, let me be very clear, nothing about when I got into. I knew as much then about homes as I did about cars now, which is nothing. I'm like, my sister could probably change oil better in my car than I could. So realistically, getting into that home world was just, God opened a door for me, and I decided to take that step, and seeing what that led to, which, as Dana knows with my story, was not immediate. I actually sold 0 houses for him in a sales role for a year and a half. We were in a new market. Our pricing was way too high for where we were. He builds a beautiful home, but we could not win against local Dayton guys. And I was from Cincinnati, and our company was from Cincinnati. So I actually was in debt when I got a real estate license. And so running our team now 3.5 years later, my life has not just dramatically changed. It has literally 180'd. And the ability to then bring people on into the vision that I had for our team has always been to just have high integrity, to work hard for people, and just to leave the rest of the results up to, are we doing the right things and having the right lead measures where things are going to go our way. So I love what Todd said. We've never bought a lead since the day I started. We are client event based, we are social media based, and then we are dabbling in other things. So we are just now deciding, oh, maybe we should send out a mailer. Like, we have never dabbled into other lead generation sources besides client events, and just focusing on and highlighting our people. And that has taken us to huge places now that, as a team, we just hired our 11th person. It's just like shocking 3.5 years in. We just hired full-time our guy who's done every home photo I've ever taken, all of our videos. I'm sick and tired of him not being available. So we just brought him on full-time. And we'd love to explore that with now start doing more like vlog kind of stuff, and just what is content that we can put out there that's actually helpful for people and entertaining. We have so many agents on our team that are hilarious and smart, and they're never doing videos. So I'm like, we're hiring a video guy. I don't care. He's going to film you, and it's going to go on the internet, and you don't even have to post it. I'm going to post it. So that aspect has been fun, but we also have another agent in the works. So we'll be up to 7 licensed agents within the ops team and the agent side as well here soon.
That's awesome, man. And when we kind of hear write down points, I want to point those out to you all. I'm trying to talk loud because I know that Boone has a little bit of trouble picking us up. Okay. But what I want you to write down between what Danny and Todd both just said is they grew their business organically. Todd, over 19 years of doing this, has grown this organically, not buying leads, not doing that. Danny in 3.5 years. And why that's important, because I'm up here learning with you all. And I just said to my coach yesterday, like, hey, I want to hire an agent. I want to start hiring an agent and start pushing myself. Well, we run the numbers backwards, and he's like, okay, how are you going to get them leads? How are you going to make sure your my assistant's part-time? How are you going to make sure that they have the systems and they don't want to leave? So you don't necessarily have to go out and purchase your leads. And if you do want to do that, that's okay. But you have to watch your profitability as well.
Yep.
So we'll point that out to you all as a learning point as well. Travis, sir?
Yeah. So the question is how I got in.
Yeah, well, how did you get started? What are you guys doing? How did you guys get started as a team?
I did not want to get into real estate, to be honest with you. I was 19 years old. My dad over there made me get into real estate. I wanted to be a journalist, an FBI agent, to change my major like 67 times. And this guy is like, you're getting your license. You got a backup plan. So I did. I was writing for fantasy football articles and doing a bunch of dumb stuff in the meantime, and acting like I was selling houses. I think I sold like maybe 8, and all of them were from him. So they were like, go sell this house. And I got you. But didn't want to do it. And I began to like it a little bit more. And I came to him after my first year in real estate and I said, I'm going to go out on my own. And I really wanted him to say no. So I could be like, awesome, well, I'm going to quit. And he was like, awesome, go do it. It's like, what do I do now? And he's like, you have to go do it. Go prove yourself. This is awesome. This is a great idea. So I did it. And I made myself love it for a year, and I sold 35 houses, made over $100,000, couldn't drink a beer yet. It was awesome. And didn't know what to do with it. And a year later I get back with him and I was like, all right, let's do this together now. So we partnered up and we went from there. And the great thing about it is, and I say it's great because it's a all learning experience. The great thing about it is we failed so much for the next 3 to 4 years that it really hurt. It financially hurt, personally hurt, got into a ton of tax debt. Who hasn't gotten to tax debt? Yay. And spent a lot of money, did a lot of things that didn't necessarily work. And the only way to get out of that was to get on Model. And by Model, I mean people and systems, and get a coach and get out of this thing. So get out of the debt and the constant failure mode. So we did that. A year later, we went from 122 houses 4 years in a row to 163 houses, made more money than we ever made, increased our volume, a ton, and started really doing this right. We got out of debt completely, thank God, yay. No more tax debt. And now I like to call myself a recovering overspending optimist. So, so there you go.
That's awesome, man.
Wait,
So-
can you tell that case first about the Christmas? Will you share what you guys did at Christmas?
Oh, yeah. So we started to get into.
Thanks, Dan.
No, I got you.
Thanks, bro. We started to get into, like Danny and these guys, Todd, started to get into more of the client-based marketing. So really going to our sphere. And one of the things we wanted to do is just we like to give back as much as possible. We probably give back too much to all of our family and friends. But one thing we wanted to do that really made a big difference in our business, and then just starting to give back more, was we started a fund to pay off $10,000 of layaway items at Walmart at the end of the year. So before the year started, we were like, we're gonna hit this goal. We're gonna get $10,000, and we're gonna pay off $10,000 to random Walmarts on layaway items. We asked our clients along the way if they'd like to help. It's just not obligating them to, of course, but asked them along the way if they'd like to help. And when we got to the end of the year, we had the $10,000. And funny enough, we went the same day it was all going to go back on the shelf. Did not plan that. An hour before it was supposed to go back on the shelf, and also didn't plan that. And there was a huge line to get in. So we could walk up, and we did the first Walmart early in the day, and that was good. But the second Walmart, we walk up and there's a big line, we get in, and then people start getting text as it's starting to pay off, because we just asked them to pay off items under $250, bikes and kids' toys, if they could do that. And people started to get texts behind us that your item's been paid off by a Good Samaritan, and they got to get their stuff an hour before it ended. So we paid off 63 families layaway items. So it was a really good idea, but it made us feel great. It helped a lot of people, and it's something that I want to keep doing. So that's how we started our give back. Thanks, Dana.
63 for one Walmart. It was 57 for the next
Oh, well, I suck. Over 100 families then. That was awesome.
Congratulations, man. That's awesome. So gentlemen, one of the things that I've talked to all four of you about, and if everybody's read the MREA, your first hire is supposed to be your administrative assistant. You hire a transaction coordinator next, and then as a single agent with 2 admin, you should be able to close roughly 74 to 80 deals. What did that first hire look like for you all? And give me your opinion on leverage. Todd, would you like to start, sir?
So Troy Stiller is the top agent in our local board here, and he and I sat next to each other, and we're like, dude, this sucks. We're working too much. We make all kinds of money. We've got a wife and kids at home. Like, we never see them. We're working too much. Let's get some help. Okay. We went to lunch. Our Qdoba waitress was awesome. And we're like, what are you planning on doing after this? She goes, I don't know. I'm quitting tomorrow. Like, you want to come work for us with us? We're awesome. Let's go have fun. And so we had Samantha for about 3 months, and we split time, and it was cool. And we learned so much in those 3 months. Then I discovered I'm going to hire the right person. Hired Michelle. She was with us for 9 months, did an amazing job. And then finally hired Rachel. She was with 5-6 years or so. Learned that I don't like too much technology. I'm not great with copy machines or printing flyers. We did a lot of that a couple decades ago. All that kind of stuff, working the fax machine, those are antique now. But all those things, I just didn't like doing it. And so I thought, if I can pay someone, whatever it was, 12, 15 an hour, then if I could pay someone to do this, they're probably going to do it a heck of a lot better than me, and it's going to save my time. And for every dollar I spend in the business, it's really only costing me 60, 65 cents at the end of the day, because if you don't pay your admin $1, you're paying the government 30, 35 cents. So every $100,000 you spend really only costs you 60 to 65 bucks, depending on your tax, 65,000, depending on your tax bracket. So when I realized that, I'm like, oh my gosh, it really only cost at the end of the day, net, 2/3 of what the gross is. So then we're just like, let's go, let's grow this. And again, had no rhyme or reason. I just know that I didn't like what I was doing, and I decided I'm gonna do something else, or I'm gonna go do something else. And I would love to grow my hair out and just load lumber over Lowe's in the lumber yard type thing. So those are my options. And so just really important to determine what you're good at and determine what you're horrible at, and find the right person for that.
Where'd you hire your first assistant? What kind of impact did he or she
Yeah.
have on your business?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, so yeah, failure till you get it right, right? We didn't follow the MREA model at all. Like at all. So we kind of a few years back brought on, I guess, an admin and an agent at the same time. Similar to Todd's story, it was like, man, we're excited about building a business, we're excited about building a team. How about you? And how about you? Come on the team, let's try to make this work. This is gonna be awesome, it's gonna be great. I struggle with a little bit of that optimism too, sometimes. So, lasted for maybe about 6 months with the agent, ended up leaving the team. And then the admin actually ended up in a good sense. We went to family reunion. She ended up kind of self-discovering her way into something else that was better for her. So after that, we did kind of take a step back into understanding career visioning a little bit more and running people through that process. However, we still have not, I mean, you can tell my team is all back here in the back. We have not followed the model at all. So we're working through that. We're figuring things out this year, but we've brought, agents on and admin on at different times, and we're just figuring it out. So
let me ask you all four kind of collectively, and we can go into detail a little bit more. Would you recommend following the model?
Oh, yes.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I'm shaking his head a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I think to answer Todd's, and Todd can answer his shaking head too, but I think that you also, you follow the model. However, I think you do find a model that works for you as well, within something that makes sense. So, and I think Gary even talks about that. We all have different strengths. We all have different weaknesses. We all have different points that we are where we are in life and things that make sense to us. For instance, Allie joined the team. So in Keller Williams, when you're a husband and wife team, you have a 50-50 split, which was really nice, which allowed us to do some things maybe differently than other teams can do. So I think everybody is in a different position, in a different place in their business, and can kind of build a model that works for them as well. However, I do think Gary Keller's done a lot of research right? And we know this.
A little bit.
So I'm saying both things at the same time. Yes, it's good to have a structure for a model. However, I think even Gary Keller would say that within a company as large as Keller Williams, there are several that have come out of different models and different systems too. And it's worked. It's
Yeah.
worked.
That's kind of my argument. That's why we have family reunion and mega camp every year, because if people weren't trying different things and having success with them, then there's no reason to, have people up on stage and have the event. Danny, I do want to get to, Todd shook his head really hard, so I want to ask like his opinion on how come we wouldn't follow the model.
You summed it up very nicely. If you think about it, that red book was written 2 decades ago, and the models and the foundations are still the same. However, it is a Frankenstein of a bunch of different models balled into one. Travis, you look good, bro, but I don't know if those leather boots would fit your feet, right? And I don't know if my flip flops would work for you. So if the shoe fits, wear it. What works for me may not work for you. What works for you may not work for me. That's why I say have it as a basis, have it as a foundation, and then get creative off of it. You summed it up very nicely.
Yeah. To that point with the models, like that's our lead generation system, is we have taken what is said, you need to have these 40 touch points, and looked at that and said, we're not going to do it that way though. We're going to do it our way by throwing events for people, printing t-shirts for people, and texting people, as opposed to making cold or even warm phone calls that I would probably quit my job tomorrow if I had to make. So that's just a personal preference. And with the systems and how we built it out, you'll hear me reference this a lot, but the Lord dropped the perfect person in my lap. And it was the scariest decision I've ever made, because I was 1.5 years in. And one of my clients approached me and said, hey, can we get breakfast and talk about investment properties? And that breakfast ended with him saying, oh, by the way, I totally want to come work for you. And I was like, you want to what? This is a guy who is an entrepreneur. He owns multiple breakout games, which is the escape rooms, with a couple friends. He's got different locations. He had Pittsburgh and Lexington and Cincinnati. Well accomplished, smart guy. You want to work for me? Are you kidding me? Like what? And part of that process was when they had gone through and were attempting to buy a house. He actually turned into one of my longest clients over a year. They backed out after an inspection. I had encouraged them to back out, and that blew his mind because my paycheck was going away, and he couldn't really comprehend that I was on board with them backing out. And he said, the service and the attitude with which you approached all of that is really attractive to me, and I think I can take you. He asked me at this breakfast, if this isn't the question you want to get, I don't know what you want to get. He said, I saw you posted on Facebook, you were in like the $1 million club at Keller Williams. My question is, how do I get you to 2 million? And I thought, oh my word, this guy, Mitch is a redhead. He looks exactly like Andy Dalton, if you're a Bengals fan or know who Andy Dalton is. So he gets that all the time. But he was sitting across from me, and I just thought, I can't hire this guy. I thought I was supposed to hire an assistant, and I had a TC at the time, and I thought she was the spitting image of who I was supposed to bring on full time. And I got hit with this challenge, which I think the Red Book would tell you, don't you want your first hire to be your future CEO of the company? I had him staring at me, but it was terrifying because I couldn't afford him. I didn't deserve him, and I was not confident in my own business to say, I think we can make this work. So I put that offer in front of him the first time, and I offered him a very measly training salary. And he looked at me and said, just so you know, I think I could go make 3 times this right now, but I believe in you. And I believe 3 months from now, I'm going to be making a lot more than this. And he broke 6 figures in his first year. So, and he now, it's kind of a running joke between me and my dad if he's going to outmake me on a year, because we have a structure set up with him now where per closing he gets paid, he's on a salary, and he can sell. So he is getting the best of all those worlds. The beauty of this guy, I have not trained a single of the 11 people that have joined my team since he started. He is a trainer. He ran these breakout games. He's an operations guy. He just started writing down everything that I do. The first time he joined, I've told Dana this, I started writing an offer, and he's like, hold on. What'd you do there? I was like, well, I typed in the purchase price. He goes, okay, types into a Google Doc, write in purchase price. He literally has written down everything. There is a Google Drive folder that exists of every document we've ever created. And I didn't even know it existed until he and my ops person sent it to me once. Well, it's on the drive. I'm like, the drive? What? Yeah. So, I mean, hire a person that is going to do and create and be everything that you can't be because you're out there selling houses. That is my advice to somebody who is looking to build that team. And it can be an administrative person. And I did have Donna, who is still on my team now doing TC work, start with me first to get me to that. You know, you can pull off 36 to 60 deals in that range. But once we were going to eclipse that and Mitch came on, the systems were created. He is truly running our sales and our ops team now. And we have just brought on a guy who's a rock star that we hope to take over the ops team. So as that has expanded, the greatest benefit of that has been I am sticking to what I'm good at, which is branding, marketing, and selling. And I have a guy running the systems. We haven't had a complaint on a deal with another agent or one of our clients in like a year because things are so buttoned up. And that is not me. If you know me at all, that is not me. So our ops team is on it. So followed the book probably because God dropped the right person in my lap. And it was terrifying, but it has been the best experience ever. A year and a half later, he was in my wedding. He's one of my best friends. And I do not see a way this team runs without him. So don't tell him this, but he's worth anything. He can have it all. And I will, I'll settle for nothing as long as he still runs things.
Talent versus non-talent right there.
Yeah.
100%.
So what I heard was find an alien and then give him all the
I
money.
know.
Yeah.
It's prayer life, guys. Work on your prayer life.
Where are you having the people in Cincinnati?
Find the Andy Dalton alien. Very good. My idea of leverage has changed so much over the course of 6 years. Our first hire didn't go well, our second hire didn't go well, and then our third hire went really well for a while, and then it didn't go well. But the main reason why they didn't go well was we paid too little. So you have to pay to find good people. That's just how it goes. And it's funny, I was listening to Mark King yesterday, and Mark King says there's 186 tasks in the Red Book. 146 of them are the $20 an hour tasks that you shouldn't be focused on as an agent. So if you can find someone to get those 146 tasks covered for you, you're on to something. There's 40 tasks that you have to do just to get paid on the commission. You just have to do them. There's 6 tasks that will consistently keep getting you paid, from lead generation to lead systems and client events like Danny does, and 36 touch. Those things, if you can stay in those items and those tasks, you are really going to be successful in your team. But you have to find someone like an alien that will do the 146 tasks and do them well. So and notice what I said there. Mark King said $20 an hour, not 10, not 12, not 15, not 17, not 18, $20 an hour. And you get talent with that sort of pay and then more. And so Danny's guy is going to make a ton of money and probably a lot more than $20 an hour. But look at the results. So that's kind of the synopsis there. Is in the first hire, like Danny said, and I completely agree with you, is it's got to be someone that can do more than just transaction coordination. Because if you're going to start your team out with someone who's just doing transaction coordination, it'll work, but you have to get to that next growth point eventually. So who is that next? And we can start with just getting our deals done, like Gene Rivers would say, get that first admin and go to 36 deals, get another one, go to 68 or 72 deals and go from there. But that next person, there has to be someone that can do all of those 146 tasks and not just the 40 or 50 of them. That's when you'll really start to be able to create a model to push your team up into new heights. So that's our third hire finally, was someone who was able to do that. And we grew our team out to 4 admin staff right after that. She pushed us to do that. Not me. She pushed us to do that. And that pushed our team to a completely new height because she was able to do all 146 tasks. I was only focused on the 46 that got me paid and that kept getting me paid.
That's awesome. And one thing that I noticed all of you said, you all found somebody who pushed you. And I think that's huge. One thing that I struggle with, and I want to ask you all, is we all have different personality types. How do you all train your admin? Now you all have other people admin to train. When you were starting out, how did you train your admin? Because like me personally, I've got one. She's great. She's awesome. I'm not the best person to train her. If I was, I'd be an admin. Who wants to take that first? And how did you start training your admin? Go ahead, Travis.
I'll be real quick. It was hey, Mitch, get in the car. 3 months straight, learned everything about my business and took over. That's simple.
I think that you're right. You're spot on, Ethan. If you are going to train your admin, you'd probably be in the profession if you're going to be good at it. Yeah. I suck at training admins. I don't want to do it. I'm not going to do it. And you probably shouldn't do it. So either a coach of some sort, find a buddy, find someone that is able to help you teach your admin. And now my world's changed with Livian. So I don't teach any admin anymore, thankfully. but it has to be someone other than you, I think. Perfect advice to let them follow you around, figure out how you operate, figure out how you're going to move forward, and let them come together with systems, but someone else needs to help them actually train. So whether it be a buddy in the office or a coach, there's Monica Reynolds has a coaching platform, I think, for this.
Also know too, just like in-house and on April 1st, we're rolling out with the admin training for the one team.
There you go. The awesome Dana Gentry.
Yeah, she's gonna do, Caleb do civics.
Yeah.
There you go. Call Dana. That's what you should do.
Yeah, with Mitch, there was actually, I was living on the edge of my seat because I had put in front of him, if you get into this and you love sales, you can be in sales and we'll find other admin staff. So I very fortunately had him make the decision of, no, I see what you do and I don't want to miss dinner with my family every night. I want to be, which I don't want to either, which is why the team continued to grow. But he stepped into that specific, hey, I do want to run the operations side role. And a lot of that was even meeting with other top teams admins. So highly recommend reaching out. Anybody will send their admin person out to lunch with you, buy their lunch, provide value to them and see if they can step into that role and fill some of that empty space. Because Mitch and I had to create that, because if you're an individual agent in this room, you're not just bringing somebody on and the systems are created. We actually had to make those together, which really was Mitch creating them. So the get in the car thing is truly, he needs to know what I do to create systems around that stuff.
Oh, great. You're handing this to me.
Yeah, you got it.
Thanks a lot. Laura, plug your ears. No, it's funny because, we have been really lucky and blessed to have admin support on our team that figure things out. Because I'm in the same boat, man. Like you're running everywhere. You're running 150 miles an hour. And I can't tell you, even this week, I've told Laura like 3 times, like, I'm going to sit down with you and go over that with you. I still have not sat down with her this week. So, I mean, I think it is, finding people that can figure it out when you let them down, when you fail, honestly. That's the reality of it is that I think as a team leader, you try to take on too much consistently because you're passionate about what you do. And you consistently will sometimes, or at least me, I'll speak for myself, you will, over commit to things and have to find people that are like, okay, Thomas is over committing. I'm just going to pick up the slack and figure it out. I think that's been important for us. So fortunately we had an admin before Rachel, who's actually an agent on our team now. And she was able to, poor Rachel, me and Sarah always talk about this. When she came in the business, we're like, hey, Rachel, here's a stack of papers. And she just kind of had to figure it out. Her first day, it's just a funny story. Her first day, actually first full day on our team, was the first day they were going around the office and saying, okay, everybody needs to go home. And we're like, hey, Rachel, welcome to the team. We don't know if any of us are going to be here in 6 months because we don't know what COVID's going to do. We don't know, the future. So awesome. This is fantastic. And it was really cool. So we all Zoomed a lot together, and she had to figure her job out through Zoom. And it was interesting. But we're fortunate that she was in that position when Laura came in, because she was able to fully train Laura. Yeah, we've never really trained an admin. No, it hasn't happened. So
Todd, you, sir, how did, I remember, I know the story about Rachel, you told me when Rachel started with you. How did you train her, or did you train her?
Yeah, it was, I remember he's still a client of ours, Dave. He's an investor. And I said, hey, come shadow me, showing this guy some properties. I don't fully know what I'm doing yet, but I can tell you this. I don't enjoy doing a lot of this, 100 and whatever number it was, 46 items. And I said, for the next 3 weeks, why don't we do this? I don't know what I'm doing. I need help. Why don't you just watch what I do? And eventually we're going to figure this out together. And that's honestly the way I do a lot of things in business, is see what sticks. And so day 3, she was literally like ripping stuff out of my hand. She's like, never go to the printer again. Oh, okay. And when they're taking tasks job from you, you've got the right person. And then, with it she says, I'm not waiting. She said, I'm not waiting 3 weeks. And so it just was really a great relationship. And then eventually it was just like, I don't like checking my email. You mind checking that? She's like, yeah, but Amanda sure doesn't want to do that anymore, because Amanda now, who's our director of ops, has a lot more responsibilities. But basically, time on task over time, showing them what they're great at. I think all 5 of us have high D traits, high D tendencies, maybe even Thomas. But we look for the high D and I as your drivers, your influential people, and your S and C, you're steady and supportive, typically on a disc. So when you have that mixture, it's really, really cool. Personality does come into play quite a bit. I just think time on task over time, tons of models, tons of coaching nowadays. Plug in, just plug and play.
So I think the common theme to write down, like every single one of you said it. Every single one of you said the same thing. That's how you figure out if you've got a talented admin very quickly. If they're not pushing you and they're not, saying, let me do it, let me do it, let me do it, and creating that stuff on their own. You may want to ask if you've got the right person. And now obviously we've got a little bit more formalities now. We've got Maps Coaching, which has products, I Love Coaching Company with Kate Randall, and they can do some stuff. So I think that's really cool. That helps me quite a bit, because I always wonder, am I doing this person justice when I really don't know? It's not fair for me to be training her. And then one other point on our last discussion that I wanted to make is that helps me again with flexibility, because Sydney literally dropped in to my lap. And I'm like, wait a minute, this isn't the model. This isn't the model. I mean, I called Troy and Dana, and I'm like, you got to verify their KPA, because I don't know what I'm doing. I've never done career visioning. So be flexible on that. Just kind of repeating that back. Let's kind of move to agents. And then I want to get a little bit more into uniqueness with your all's teams. Some stuff that I know you all do. How do you find talented agents, and how do you keep talented agents on your team? Who wants to start? Thomas hasn't started yet.
That's a good question. For us, see Sarah back there smiling again. Take them out to coffee. Yeah, take them out to coffee and say, hey, I've got this really cool idea. We should work together. No, but I think the thing is, for us at least, and I know it's going to be different for everybody. But what we're realizing now is, for us, it's a culture piece. So it's, and I don't want to say it's not about talent. I'm more about, I want a trustful person. I want a good person. It's not about, because I feel like you can teach people how to do real estate, but you can't teach people how to be trustworthy, and you can't teach people how to just be genuine good people. And so talent isn't out the window, but it's not something that I like 100% look for. We look for a culture fit. Does this person fit within our culture? Does this person resonate with our values? Is this person someone who is going to come on and love us and love our clients because they resonate our values outwardly? That is the most important thing for me. So the biggest question that I'm going to ask for an agent, again, is not talent, but could this be someone, for one, that I trust? Could this be someone that I feel like could resonate our values outwardly and that could love our team? That's a big thing.
So how did you find all these wonderful people?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Maybe
So
not individually, but
most everybody that has come on our team has come through a friend or friend of a friend. Except for Cameron, I see you shaking your head. Cameron took us a little while to find. He was a marketing and sales position, and we knew pretty quickly that he was the right dude for the job. We love Cameron. But most of all the agents, I think all of the agents were a friend of a friend, or we put a post out and they were like, hey, yeah, we want to find out about joining your team, and we went and have coffee to see if We felt like the culture matched. So it hasn't been, for agents, it hasn't been a huge process for us. We don't necessarily KPA all the agents. We don't run them. Yeah, we don't run them through career visioning. The only thing I'm looking for, and I know this sounds like really minimal standards, but the only thing we're looking for is, do we feel like you're someone that we trust and that can resonate our culture? We will teach you the rest if you're willing to show up. Yeah. So.
Two pieces of that: finding people, and then two, retention. So we are at a point now with our business where with the 11 people that we have on, I've only ever had one person leave, and it was because she became a mom. So we have never lost anybody to another team. We've never lost anybody that went out on their own. That does not come without intentionality. So the piece of retention that I'll focus on is I cannot afford, it's easy for us to sit up here, and I hear some of us using the language of like, well, yeah, I don't do that, so I don't want to do that, so I don't do. There has to be a piece of leadership, which is really intentional, which is not the mindless entrepreneur that, I hire people and forget about it and run away. Mitch and I are in touch every single day, all day. I am in touch with other people on my team. I talked to one of my agents for 57 minutes on the way here today because he was venting about something that turned into a one-on-one on the phone, and he hung up the phone. And I have been as vulnerable with him as on the phone today, saying, hey, in order to keep you around, have you noticed I'm doing all of these things to make your life easier? Dude, yes, I love that stuff. For instance, I don't want my agents writing offers. That sounds like a ridiculous thing to say, but I want our ops team writing their offers. I want them making a phone call where their offer gets written for them, that they know if they ever leave our team, they have to go write their own offers again. That is a huge value add to our agents. And I'm not saying to anybody in the team that that's how you have to operate your business, but that is one of the ways that I've found value hiring our full-time media guy. That is a value piece that if you leave, you don't have him anymore. So it's building up those things without ever looking at the agents and saying, look what I've done. It's more so on the phone saying, hey, we want to make sure that you feel everything is going and operating smoothly. Do you feel like that's the case? What can we do to make it better for you? And having that question come and knowing that culturally, what you just said is so dynamic. We are hiring fits that aren't just culture fit exactly to like people that we want to interact with, but we have to hire people that meet our systems. So when I say client events, I need somebody that knows 200 people to bring to the client event. Johnny, one of our agents, brought 300 people himself to our Reds game. So we didn't get to 1,000 people at our Reds game client event because I knew 1,000 people. We got to it because we hired the right people that worked with clients and invited their friends. I had somebody reach out a week ago. That Reds game was a year plus ago. And I had somebody reach out a week ago and say, I was at the Reds game last year. I've still actually never met any of you, but ready to sell our house. So doing those client events is so huge, and having people that are committed in their different communities. And it's almost funny to say, because we do not in any way use our religion or spirituality to sell, but we are all in different churches. And it's so obvious because we have people from those churches or communities or small groups reach out to that agent that goes to that church. And then they tell all their friends in that immediate network. And we have this running joke that we've infiltrated every church in Cincinnati, which is like not in any way intentional, but just one of those things where as we've hired, I also don't want to hire two people that are best friends that all of their friends would be calling both of them. So there has to be some consideration of the overlap of, well, we're going to get that person's clients anyway. Their friend approached us and expressed that they're interested in joining the team, but that might not be a good fit because they would actually be in competition with each other. We want, and we have a team bonus at the end of the year where we pay the agents really well if we hit the number that we set at the beginning of the year. It's like another big closing for them. And that makes us celebrate everybody's wins. So we're not celebrating or frustrated when Courtney sells a house because Johnny's like, oh, I didn't get one this week. He's like, yeah, get us to that goal. Let's go. Let's make some more money. So the hiring piece, you just mentioned this. I have actually never posted once about a position we're hiring. It's been very similar to like not buying leads for me. It's like this weird point of pride of like, I've only ever had people ask me if they can join our team or someone introduce us to someone who fit the perfect need at the time. For our brand manager was the first time I was ever getting ready to pull the trigger on posting about it. And then the perfect guy showed up and all right, I guess we're hiring him. We do KPA everybody. And my secret weapon is Laura Picard out of the Cincinnati offices. She's shifted jobs so many times. She was our assistant. She is the everything. She was our assistant office manager when I started and interviewed me when I was joining Keller Williams. But at this point, I will not hire someone if she has not run a KPA on them. And there have been people where she's come to me and said, do not do it. And I will not do it if she says not to do it, because she knows me, she knows our team, she knows our culture, and she knows the KPA inside and out. So you're not even just utilizing weapons within your team. You have the KW resources available to you. And my personal connection with Laura is enough where I would jump off a cliff if that lady told me to. And when she says no to somebody, there's a reason she said no. So utilizing that, but also at the same time, for the 11 people we've hired, I've had 50 to 100 more come to me and say, hey, I want to join your team. You have to be selective. You cannot bring in someone who will be cancerous to culture. You can't hire a position you don't need. You do have to pay well, but you can't create positions to pay well for no reason just because one of your friends wants to work for you. So there is a huge benefit to being picky. And because of that, of the 11 people on the team, I literally love all of them and they love each other. What we are now growing into is the element where we have to have them interview new people. I'm at the point now where I will not bring in an agent who's going to disrupt the 5 other agents. So I want them to meet people that are going to come in and make sure that they pass the lunch test. What is the lunch test? Do you want to go to the lunch with this person for the next 10 years? Because if you don't, we're not going to hire them. So for me, they have to pass the lunch test. They have to pass the culture test. And they have to pass Laura's KPA safekeeping, which is the toughest to cross.
That's awesome, man. And that's the first time I've heard like hiring people on a lead generation. Wow, that's really cool, man.
You know, Gary said the same thing though. Gary just told us at the CEO mastermind in Orlando, he said, you never have seen me post like we're hiring for the president of KW or we're hiring for the person to run the equity division or whatever. Because he said, we always we hire from within our sphere, like the people that we know. We always have people like ready on the bench. We
Yep.
never post an ad to hire somebody. And that was a huge aha for me.
Yeah. And I'm willing to compromise that at some point if I have to, but up until now,
But you haven't had to.
I haven't had to. There's a lineup waiting and they're superstars.
So a few things I think to actually find the agents. My dad and I talk about this quite a bit. I think it's really a large part of just showing up. So showing up and teaching, being at the team meetings, being that face that people can get used to and see your success and watch you grow. And those people will come to you. I have a really cool story about an agent who is on my team now. He kills it, does 30 deals a year. And that's what he wants to do. And I was on a panel much like this in our office, doing something very similar to this. I forgot what it was called, but it was something very similar. And at the end of it, he walks up and says, "I'm going to be on your team, Mr. Travis." I was like, okay, awesome. Are you licensed? No. I'm like, okay, I get licensed. And I get to the work the next morning. He meets me at my truck and walks with me up to the building and says, "I'm going to be on your team. I'm getting licensed right now." Did it again the next day, did it again the next day, did it again the next day, finally got his license. And I was like, all right, man, let's sit down. Geez. We KPA'd him and was an amazing person. My favorite person on our team, to be honest with you. Personality is infectious. And he's awesome. He's a great guy. But it was only because I was showing up. I said something that popped with him or stuck with him at a panel, and he wanted to be on our team. That was it. So I think showing up, helping people, being involved in the office is a really organic way to grow. Because you can call and recruit all day. My dad likes to call it sharing the opportunity, not recruiting. But at the end of the day, if you're showing up and they want to be around people who are showing up and doing what they want to do, you're going to get people to follow you. So that's one way. And that's my approach. I'm kind of laid back with it. I don't call and recruit. We don't post either. It's if you want to be on our team, we'd like to, speak with you, interview, pass all the tests. And to Thomas's point, the culture fit has to be huge. I tell my dad all the time that if I can't see myself talking with you and growing with you and coaching with you, I don't know if I can lead you. It's hard to lead someone that you don't have a connection with on some way, shape, or form or level. So that's huge. I agree completely with those two things. And so don't recruit. We just call it sharing the opportunity. And now recently we brought on a huge team, another 180 unit team. So we have 19 agents on our team now. And she would say the same exact thing. Our co-CEO is that she hasn't recruited or intentionally brought on any of her agents. They've all come to her. They've all been a part of her culture for years now. And they all came because she was showing up in her market center and doing the things that we all want to do and they all want to do.
You do something different too. They actually have to try.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we have a 30-day trial period. So I call it dating. So we basically give them a bunch of old leads. They're not new leads. They are all old. I mean, 250 old leads. Their job, and I give them no direction at all. I say, here's 250 old leads. Here's how you log in. Good luck. And they're like, what? So it's basically what I want them to do is go to our agents, figure out how to get into the system, learn the other agents, get to have a relationship with them. The agents are helping them teach how to even use the system to start. I'm not giving them a script. We give them a quick sentence. Hey, this is so-and-so with Keller Williams Louisville. You inquired a year ago. Yeah. And they're like, what? Well, what's cool is, and I tell them too, like the trial period can last as little as 2 weeks. I'm not looking for any metric. I'm not looking for you to sell a house. I'm really just looking for you to like give some effort, show up. We use show up a lot. So a lot of them will come in and they'll not make a call for like 3 weeks. I'm like, all right, well, we are no longer dating. But and then some of them will come in and they'll make like 100 calls in the first 2 days. And they're like, hey, do you have any more? I'm going to be done like next week. I'm like, okay, I'll keep dating you. So it's a way for us to really get to know each other, get to see if we're good fits for each other. And then two, they've already created a relationship with everyone on the team if they did it right, because they're going and asking for help, because I'm not going to help you. That was the whole point. You have to do this on your own. So I tell our agents that we give them all the tools, systems, models, and training. We put it in front of them, but you got to pick it up and actually do it. Your effort is more important than me telling you what to do. Yeah. I'd rather you learn how to do it with our systems, tools, models, and training. So thank you.
That's good. One thing I thought of, Ethan, then
Go ahead.
to talk. The branding that we have really intentionally built, I have always thought of as being for our clients, but it's really interesting that it attracts talent. So I've come to people, the guy we just brought on, who is just incredibly talented, built the systems and operations within his local church, had actually relocated to Cincinnati 4 years ago from Birmingham to do exactly that, but was stepping out of ministry. And he said, just so you know, I've been following you guys for 1.5 years and I'm literally obsessed with your team. So that was a Instagram follow that was enough to transform someone's brain about what it really means to work with us and for us. And when that time came for him to make a transition, we were top of mind for him, and we're blessed to get that call from him because he had been following what we had been doing in my brain, really for our clients. So building that brand worked in a recruiting form just as well as it does for prospecting.
Mr. Paxton.
I think the question was, how do you find people for your team? How do you, where do you go?
How do you sales agents?
Most every one of our agents have been past clients or were in a class that I've taught. Newest agent we're talking with, this is a first and it's really cool. There's another agent in our board who does very, very well. She does not want to do the team, does not want to do anything. She's not a Keller. She doesn't want to be. But she sent her best friend. She's like, you got to call Todd. And that was really cool. And we're talking with her now. It's like, man, that is very, very cool. That the relationships are important, even with competing agents, that they send people. That was really sweet. Mainly 5 pillars. You have to be a team player, learning based, growth focused, with a winner mentality and a servant's heart. And you have to be fun, because I like the lunch test. Our culture will spit people out. Call it cliquish, call it cultish. I don't care. It is a family. And I want to spend a week on an all-inclusive resort at the beginning of the year with with everyone on our team and their spouse or +1. When we hit our goal, we go to an all-inclusive resort for a week, as long as you're on the team for 6 months. And I want to like you, and I want other people to be cool. I just think that's important to just good humans. How do I don't know, we use the word entice, but an added benefit, a value add for our team is the additional opportunities within our team. Because the way I look at this business, and this is my opinion, a sales team is just one bucket of your real estate. They used to say the word empire builder. Go build your empire. Well, a sales team is just one section of that. And a lot of times I'm business partners with, I think half of our team flips, several of them own apartments with me and together. So just creating those opportunities is a recruitment piece and a retention tool as well.
Sure. So relationship based, I think that's huge. I think that's awesome that you're all attracting and you haven't run an entire ad and how much emphasis you all put on culture. And it's kind of like the culture starts becoming self-sustaining. That was going to be a question that I asked for you guys. What I want to move into next is when we set this up and Jesse and I had thought about this, we wanted to pick really 4 different stories or 4 things that we knew that people did a little bit differently. So I'm going to kind of what I'd sent you on email. I want you to hit on that just a little bit. And then I want to ask you all, if you had to do it over again, what would you do? And then give everybody a quick chance for a little bit of Q&A. So I'm going to start with Mr. Gwynn again. I work with my wife. You started a team with your wife. How do you all run a successful team? Tell me what that looks like. What's the pros? You don't have to say the cons if you don't want to. But what is it like running a successful team with your significant other?
Is she on the Zoom right now?
Yes, she is.
Okay. All right.
Absolutely, she is.
All right. Yeah. I need to figure that out first. Well, she's the TL now, as well, at the market center here. Yeah. So it's changed a little bit. So, it's been great. And I know Allie could tell this story as well. She was a teacher here locally, and teaching's tough right now. It's been tough for a while, and I keep telling her, I was like, you should just get into real estate. You'd be great at it. You're really personable. You've got a lot of friends. That's when my business was kind of starting to take off, and I was like, hey, you should just come on. You should try it. And she ended up eventually quitting her job there at teaching and getting into real estate. So we worked side by side in real estate for about 2 years, 2-3 years. And then when COVID hit, she really kind of at that point was a stay-at-home mom. She did work some deals as well, but I kind of handled a lot of her listings. And so since I was here in the office, since the kids were home for a while and there was a lot of transitions going on. And I think from that point for us, kind of leading up to where she's at now, was that she, kind of realized that she had a passion for the realtors here and the real estate, business as a whole. And that's where she kind of ended up where she was. Pros, it's exciting getting to go to work, getting to share a vision with someone that you love, is really cool. Cons, it's exciting, and you get to share a vision with the person you love is also a con, right? Because you don't always agree on the same things, right? And so it's been a blessing. It's been really cool. I don't know if that answers your full question.
Well, I'm gonna dive a little bit deeper because I remember Jim and Linda had to put like signs in their house, didn't they? Yeah, like channels, like stop. Like, how do you all turn it off? Like,
Yeah, good question. We don't. Yeah. It's a work in progress. I feel like we'll be good at it for 6 months and then terrible at it 6 months. I think, people in general tend to be cyclical in their habits. And so we do really good. We're like, all right, we're going to do good. We're going to put our phone down at 8 p.m. And we're not going to look at it. And then we'll do bad for a couple of months. And it's just the struggle of figuring it out. It's not perfect. Especially now with her entering into a new role and me being in this role and us bringing on a bunch of agents, it's kind of, it's crazy. So we just figured out the best that we can. I think both of us have the mindset though, that, that's just part of what we do and we make it work. I don't know if that makes sense, but, we both are very intentional about spending time with our kids, making sure that there's always one adult to focus on our children. We're never both off at home. Well, not never. we're most of the time not both off at home on our computers. Well, our kids just run around and do whatever. So we're really intentional about, okay, I've got to take a phone call, and then Allie's, with the kids, or I'm with the kids. So I don't know. It's not perfect. We just figure it out.
Have you all ever, had to have one of the things Todd told me when Ash, before we had the baby, she started as our admin.
Yeah.
And one of the things I'll never forget Todd telling me is, "You're my wife first."
Yeah.
Yeah, you were my
Yeah.
wife first.
I don't. So here's the thing, I don't know that we didn't really have that conversation. However, before we got in real estate, Allie and I had been married for a while. This will be actually 15 years this year. I've only been in real estate for half of that, or less than half of that. Before that, we have been through a lot of different scenarios. So we were in church planting for a while. We actually moved and lived up in Sioux Falls, South Dakota for a little while, and then moved back here. We've been a part of, just a lot of transitions in our life, right? In the first 7-8 years. So I think that was kind of an unspoken conversation that we really didn't have to have. I don't know that we ever verbally had that conversation, but I think through a lot of trial and error over the first 8 years of our marriage, when we got into this, it was kind of like, okay, we're cool. Like, we'll figure it out. It wasn't anything huge, if that makes sense. And it's not, like I said, it's not perfect. There's times where we drive each other crazy with taking phone calls and stuff like that. But the commitment is, the commitment's in our marriage. And I think the thing that you have to know, you have to know that at the end of the day, if Allie came to me, and she knows this, if Allie came to me and was like, "I need you to quit what you're doing. I love you guys, but like, I'd be gone." Like, it just is the way that it is. Like, family for me, 150% comes first. So yeah. And I think I know that about her. Right. She's like, "You'd be gone. I'm still staying."
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Travis, Danny, I'm not gonna lie to you. You answered my question. My question was gonna be, how, as your lead generation,
Yeah.
attracting people. So I'm thinking,
There you go.
Travis, a little bit like, for everybody that doesn't know, Travis, you all had Impact. You partnered with Adam Hergenrother. Is that the right word?
Yeah, I've had a bunch of names. Like in the last 6 months, we went from Impact Homes Group to her group to Olivia now. So what we did in August of last year, we were looking and well, not actually looking for anything, honestly, but we were trying to grow, getting bigger. I had a beer at a B-Dubs with my dad and Eric Forney, and that turned into us flying to Vermont and talking to some guy named Adam Hergenrother, which was really cool. Didn't know him before that, but apparently I should have because he's awesome. And Adam, again, like we said earlier, instead of recruiting, Eric and Adam shared an opportunity with our team to grow and get bigger, and to collaborate with some of the best minds in real estate. So we walked out of the meeting with Adam Hergenrother, not expecting to do anything while we're in Vermont. We were like, we go to the restroom. We're like, "That was so easy, dude. We're joining today." That was awesome. It was a 3-hour conversation, and it was like nothing to do with real estate at all. More so about your personality, your beliefs, your spirituality, and who you are. He wanted to get to know us, and for him to spend that amount of time with us, when the guy has, millions of dollars in organizations that he runs, was really like touching to us. We felt really supported. So what's great about it is, and the best way I can describe it is, like, we've all been Michael Jordan fans, right? And Michael Jordan in the 90s competed to win championships. And Eric likes to say, instead of competing to win championships, LeBron James collaborates with people. He gets a bad rap. He creates these big old dream teams, and we all hate him for it. But at the end of the day, he's smart. Instead of competing, he's collaborating with the best of the best to win more championships. And that's what I felt like we did. We met with and collaborated with the best to go out and win more championships. And as a result, our team has grown to 19 agents in 6 months, 4 admin staff, and another CEO to tag along with me. So it's been a very fun ride so far.
So literally by joining them, you accomplished the goal that you all set out with, which was growth, and you've done it in under a year.
Yeah, well, much quicker than I imagined.
Yeah. And with Livian, like, what do you, because I saw Adam was all the time you heard he was merging with teams and calling, like, what do they provide you all? What, give us a little bit deeper.
I could talk all day.
Yeah.
Um, quick synopsis. A quick synopsis is, we said earlier that if we're going to grow and get bigger, and we all have talked about a model, whether it be Gary's model or your model or whoever else's model. The quick synopsis is they have literally laid out the blueprint and made it to where I can focus on those 6 things I was talking about, how we grow. And everything else, the 146 tasks that we talked about, those are done for us and then some. The training is done for us and then some. The lead generation is done for us and then some. So my agents get to focus on 46 tasks to get paid. I get to focus on 6 tasks to help us grow. And that's kind of the quick synopsis.
And Todd, I kind of in our email back and forth, one of the things that I wanted to ask you about is I know you did some metrics coaching down with Brian and Ben Kinney, and I don't remember the other gentleman's name.
He's not with them anymore. It's okay.
Okay. And one of the things that kind of came out of that, because when I was on a team, they were going to employ is profit sharing on the team. You all profit share. Tell us a little bit about what that looks like, and tell us like how has it affected the team? Does it matter? Does it build culture? Tell me about it.
Years ago, I wanted Christmas is a special time for me and people in my world, and I wanted to make that a little bit special. And we have a good year. I wanted to share a Christmas bonus. I didn't know what to do, so I just started paying $25 per month of tenure on the team. So if you've been with us a year, you get, what is that, $300, okay? 2 years, 600. And it starts on your anniversary date. And it's every year. And then I thought, man, that's pretty cool. How do we tie that to profit? Keller put a profit share page in the Red Book. It was okay. I didn't understand it. So I just went and did our own in a way through years of talking with folks around the country. So what we do, we have three bonuses. Number one, we hit our team goal. We go to the all-inclusive resort for a week. Probably this year will be in February. Number two is team cap overage. We have a team cap at Keller Williams. After we cap, all that money comes back to the team. I don't want it. I don't need it. I want the agents to have it. I shouldn't have said I don't need it. That come out wrong, but I want them to have it. And so basically it lowers their Keller Williams half cap effectively net at the end of the year. So last year they got about $3,000 a piece. The third and biggest and pretty awesome bonus we have on our sales team is team profit share. Modeled similar to what Keller wrote. Basically, I understood his formula at one point for a market center profit share, like 48.23%, something like that. But I thought I want to keep it simple, and I don't want to make it based upon if Amanda brought in an agent that had a closing that month, they get profit share. I love the Keller Williams system and model, and it works for 170,000 people. I grew up on chainsaws and tractors, and I needed something a little bit simpler for me. So basically, half the profit goes to the owners, which is currently all me. Half the profit goes to everyone. That other 50% is broken down into 4 buckets, if you will: tenure, leadership, admin, and GCI. So tenure, we still do 1 month equals 1 share. I think last year we had like 500 months collective. And then if you had 5 months, you get 1% of that 25%. Then admin, you just get a flat leadership, you get a flat 1/3. We have 3 people on our leadership team. Then admin is based on months tenure. And I'm happy to, work through this with people if you have questions. Then GCI, I thought, well, the agents that bring in more, to the point earlier, I think Danny made, the agents that bring in more should get more out of that bucket. So that's a percentage based upon GCI. and that's it. This will be the third year we've had team profit share. Last year we wrote several 5-digit checks, and a lot of tears were shed. Was happy. There's never been new cars purchased with the team profit share check. So it's really helping change people's lives. I've learned that anymore for me, money isn't as important as other stuff in life. So, and if you have more questions, I'm happy to answer.
Awesome, man. Thank you. So last one, Danny, you really went into what my question was going to be for you all. If you haven't heard Danny on Dana's podcast, check it out. One of your big lead generation sources is events, and you all are known for that. You all do a great job. You had 1,000 people turn out at the Cincinnati Reds game. I would actually like for you to just dive even more into that. Like, is there anything else you've done as recruiting or as culture? If you just go a little bit deeper into that, man.
The Reds game thing, this was 2 weeks ago. Like the client I just mentioned that kind of came back to us from that. I had an agent that I reached out to about her listing. I hope she's not watching. I'd never heard her name in my entire life. And she said, "Oh, you're Danny Barron. You threw the Reds game. You're a legend." This is a local agent that I'm like, well, I guess if we write an offer, that's good. She knows who we are and what's happening. And what I'm watching happen is the agents on our team are getting that credibility with the people that we reach out to. So it really is so much bigger than just bringing people to the games. A question I ask people a lot is, what do you do once your people close? It's like this grand breakup of the group text. Me, the husband, the wife, we're best friends. They buy a house. Later. Like, don't ever talk to them again. And it's not because I want to, it's because there's 18 other group texts going with other people still in the process. So the follow-up to that is we give them 4 opportunities to come hang out with us for free every single year. And the caveat on that for lead generation is you don't have to be a past client to come. Anybody can come. So we have gotten people like Sam, who just joined our team. He's probably been to 3 of our events before. He's never bought a house with us, and he just joined our team. So the event structure is not just for the follow-up to clients. It's not just for prospecting new clients, and it's not just for recruiting. It's also just to have fun in the community. So the Reds game was the ultimate example of giving 1,000 people, probably 15 of those people came up to us and said, this is my kid's first Reds game. We've never brought our kids to a Reds game before. We'll never forget this. So those elements too, you can do things that you don't realize. You talked about giving back at one of our events. We had the opportunity to give over $4,000 back to a ministry because we had a ton of giveaways and people were able to buy extra entries. All that money went to a ministry in Africa that I've been able to visit a couple of times. So putting those elements together of just, if we're going to go ice skating, is that enough to get people out of their seats? Or should we also have free hot chocolate and also do giveaways? If we're going to go to the Reds game, is that enough to get people to come? Or should we also give them a t-shirt when they show up? So taking those to the next level, and some of the people I've hired on now, it used to be some of the kids from our church would call them Danny parties because there was no explanation for why they were happening. And everybody's like, why are you inviting us to the thing? It became a lot easier when we became the Barron Group to say, hey, it's a Barron Group event. And then the piece on that's further now is I literally show up at this point. I come up with the idea with my team. We set it in motion. I have a literal event planner who's on my ops team. She went to school for event planning. Her husband is our videographer, photographer. So it is a family affair for them. He's there to film it. And the follow-up to that is any event we throw, this is just free advice. If you're going to do something cool, don't do the thing and then forget about it. Document it every possible way and show it to people 1,000,000 times. So when we go ice skating, we're about to post, we got 250 professional pictures of everyone there that we get to now sprinkle out over Instagram, send them all a direct email to download. They are then posting those things and tagging us. Hey, our realtor did this free thing. Also, they're doing the Reds game this summer. Let us know if you want to come. People are doing the work for us at this point. We just have to put out the highlight videos, get the photos. And my biggest regret was at my launch party when I started real estate, which if you are not an agent yet, or if you know someone who is, we now throw our events in honor of our new agents and say, hey, this is Johnny's launch party. And it gives that person the ability to text everyone they've ever met on planet Earth and say, hey, I just became a realtor. Do you want to come to my launch party? Which was an event, newsflash, we were going to throw anyway. But now it's Jacob's launch party. Now it's Sarah's launch party. So that little element right there gives them the ability to reach out and make first contact with every person. I was told when I got into real estate to write a letter to everyone I know. And I was like, have you met me? Are you kidding? My hand would fall apart after writing 3. So I think the only letters I've ever written in real estate are closing notes. I've written one to everyone that's ever closed. Besides that, my lead generation is if I have almost 5,000 Facebook friends, I'm gonna talk to them and it's gonna be like 4 seconds instead of writing every one of them a note, which there's an argument there of what's more meaningful and impactful. But if you stay in front of somebody consistently, I think my overarching real estate advice to anyone at all with a license in any market is whatever you do, please do it consistently. I guarantee everyone sitting here has done those things consistently with your team and with your clients. And in that consistency, there is a brand recognition. You have to, and my marketing background, you have to see something 7 times to be familiar with it anyway. So when a brand like Charmin has your brain of like, when you think of toilet paper, why do you think of Charmin? Sorry, I did projects with Charmin. That's a weird example. But it's because they've shown you themselves on TV a billion times. They dominate the toilet paper aisle. When all those things come up, toothpaste or toilet paper or deodorant or realtors, everybody has 1 or 2 in their brain, and you can't be number 2. You got to be number 1.
About that though, and I noticed this earlier, and with the exception of Todd, which of course he's in Florida, so he gets passed. Everyone in the hundred brain on today.
Yeah. And I
And I mean that, like, everybody should,
Yeah.
but everybody should pick up on that. Like, I know we have tons of people that have been on and off of Zoom watching, and so hopefully they can tell too, but yeah, and I mean, that says something, like, there's consistency in the brand, and I just think that that's cool.
there's a running joke that we're going to cut off onto a merch line because we keep dropping new like sweatshirts and stuff and just giving them. Yeah, seriously, we give them out to everyone that breathes and they cost me $30 a sweatshirt. It is not like we're just tossing these things out for free, but people are literally at church. This is just ridiculous. I show up to church. I've seen 8 of our Yetis in church on one Sunday before. So that's like every other row in our church has a Baron Group Yeti in it. So, and it's just, we're giving those away. Every husband and wife that get closing it for me, the husband gets a blue Yeti, the wife gets a white one. We're not cheaping out on those. We're spending money on that stuff. But with merch and with Yetis and with all that stuff, we want to continue to put that out there to make this a thing. And weirdly, people not just like the stuff, but they also like representing us. Do you guys get that? Like when I get merch from somebody, I'm proud to wear it for them. In my car. I got one in my car for you. And I did this, seriously, it's reached the point where because people ask me all the time, I now have a trunk. It looks like a merch store in my trunk because I have every size of all of our things because people always ask. And I'm like, hold on, I got one for you. So I'll stop there because I could talk about this forever. I love the branding. It's fun. This is fun, right? Like, did you enjoy creating this and wearing it? And
so Laura, can I call Laura? Laura's wearing one of our shirts too. It's got a moon on it.
and Travis and I both want one, by the way.
It's got a rocket ship and it says selling homes everywhere. And those are little live life signs on the moon. So we want to sell homes on the moon one day.
Well, you can do the metaverse. That's pretty good.
Yeah. So we've got a whole like live life store too. So we need to talk about that.
That's awesome.
But do you, on those events, can I ask a question real quick? Am I allowed to do that? I don't know. On those events, I'm not supposed to be asking it in there.
So what we're gonna do now, we're just gonna start with Thomas since he's asking a question. Yeah, we're gonna start the Q&A from within. So we've got 90 minutes, guys. I'm not gonna ask any more questions. So I'm gonna let Thomas ask his, and then if you have any questions, let's go about 10 more minutes. Go ahead and think of your questions. We'll go about another 10 more minutes, and then we'll say thank you and wrap up. Go ahead and ask your question, sir. We'll start
Thanks,
with
Ethan. I didn't mean to take over. Thanks, man. No question about the events. Do you have like an events list? Are you registering people when they come and then contacting them and saying, hey, thanks for coming to the event, and then re-inviting them to another event? Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So the system is we use RSVPify, and I tell people RSVPify is not some magical it's just an RSVP software that we like. We can send a link directly to somebody. If they click it, it is literally what's your name, what's your last name, what's your cell phone number, how many people you're bringing, and what are their names. And then from there, we can contact them because we get their email. They're forever in command after that. So at the Reds game, we got 337 new contacts at the Reds game that are now in command getting when we send out new listing emails or, hey, next client event, they're getting that stuff directly to email now, not just on our social media pages. And when somebody does sign up like that, if they come and then or say we have somebody in our database that does not come, we like to, instead of just following up the people and posting photos that are like, oh my gosh, this is you, a picture of you at the event. If somebody can't make it, we love to say, hey, see you at the next one. Obviously, we missed you at this one. And again, those aren't handwritten notes from me. They probably should have been at the beginning, but we've reached a point where it really can't be. But a follow-up text to people, even if they RSVP'd and didn't show up, oh my gosh, we wish you could have made it. But we are capturing that ahead of time, because when the first couple, I had people sign in when they got there. And it got really complicated because as we grew and we're getting 300 plus people, my admin team was getting crushed at the front door. And our goal is for our agents just to literally have nothing more to do than hang out. We want them to go talk to everybody. The Reds game's great because I just bounce around seats the whole time. Oh yeah, yeah. That is probably our next one. We're gonna do. We just filmed it today. I'll watch the video when we're done here. We're doing a March Madness giveaway. Last year we had 900 new Instagram followers after our March Madness giveaway. We picked. I literally just thought of every item I could ever want between $300 and $500. A Yeti cooler, a Roomba, a Vitamix, like all the things that you would totally want, but you'd never go buy unless you were just obsessed with that thing. And we gave away 5 weeks worth, 1 week of March Madness each time. And each person could pick a gift if their name was drawn. So our first week had like 700 submissions. They had to share it to their story, like our page, follow us, whatever, tag 3 friends. And at the end of that, we had 900 new Instagram followers that I assure you, many have bought houses with us now. So the system really, RSVPify keeps it in one spot for us to then pull and put into command and database stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Anybody in the house right now have a question? Anybody on Zoom for these 4 gentlemen? What you got, Miss Dana?
I just want to know really quickly, what are you guys all the most excited about right now in the industry and in the market? And how are you pushing through the burnout?
I want to be everything that every other realtor wishes they were. Like, I feel like I wake up every day thinking, what is no one doing yet that I can do and blow some minds? And the easiest way to do that is go, oh, wait, I live in Cincinnati, Ohio, where we're 5 years behind California. What's happening in California? So Kentucky, that's what I meant. I said California. So with our newest move of bringing on our media guy, could not be more excited to just have endless content from this guy at a price where I looked at what we paid him last year anyway. And I'm like, are you kidding me? To have his full attention, the value that he can bring in transforming our brand. Even some of the posts I put up, I'm like, there are things you're proud of, and there's things you're like, did we really post that? Like, that's not bringing anybody in. I want everything we ever post to be out of his camera, because he is fun. It's like having a Tyler that you bring everywhere you go. Mark for me is, and I was the best man in his wedding. He was in my, like, we are literally best friends. So to work with him every day, I just finally stopped. I was like, why am I not bringing him on full time? And the answer is 2 years ago, I didn't have the money to do that. So as we've grown, the excitement level for me of we're now doing a reel, Instagram reel of every single house we list that's not a fixer upper. So I told him, your goal this year is to shoot over 100 reels for our Instagram page, because first of all, they're awesome. Like, they look really, every time I get one, my mind is blown again. Like, I feel like every production he does is better than his last one. And he loves it. He's excited about it. So we're pushing to new levels of, how do we push ourselves into an area? And I think I can say with confidence, I don't know. And I asked you this and you didn't know, and I don't know anybody in Cincinnati that has a full-time media person. So what am I going to do? I'm going to film a 1-minute video about why you should work with us because of our full-time media person and why no one else has that advantage. We see listings go live with terrible photos all the time. You owe it to your clients to have the best possible photos. And we hired the only guy that can give you the best photos. So you should probably work with us. So that gets me pumped every day.
I think what I'm most excited about is when real estate's already really tough. So burnout level is always every day. And I told an agent yesterday, like, be prepared to run on 10% for the rest of your career. I think it's true. But one thing that helps me get out of it is as a CEO or a team owner, is just helping people. I mean, our agents, just like you said, a 57-minute phone call on the way up here. That's awesome. Those things mean way more than we even realized. So to be able to help, and like Todd said, most of his agents will invest with him, or he probably helps them get into the investing world. That's huge. That's what I'm most excited about in the future, is helping our agents and our staff really go out and make a life worth living, just like we are supposed to as team owners.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say is what I'm most excited for.
I think the best moment of my entire last year was we took our team out to Jeff Ruby's for a celebratory Christmas dinner. And one of the wives comes up from behind me and taps on my shoulder. I turn around, What's up? And she literally with tears in her eyes said, "Thank you for changing our family's life." And that is from one of my agents that I love working with. It's the guy I was on the phone with today. And I'm like, that is so cool that it's not just him. It extends to his children and his wife and everybody else involved. And that hit a lot harder than any commission check did last year.
It's a good question, Dana. I'm still squirreling out in my brain over it, right? So a couple of different things. You said industry, I think was one of the words that you used for that. What's interesting to me in the industry right now, 5 years from now, is services platforms. So what's in my head is how do we, at the level that we're at and the level that we're going to be at in the next 5 years, compete with a service platform? I think we're all going to be, if we're not already thinking that, we should be thinking that at a high level. I think you're either going to be a service platform or you're going to be working for a service platform in 5 to 10 years. So how do we compete with that? And then burnout wise, one of the things that we are really focusing in, honing in on now, is, I'm realizing more and more how, your business, this sounds a little weird, so bear with me for a second. Your business is its own entity, right? Your business is a person, and I think you have to treat it that way, right? Your business has flesh, bones. Your business has a heart. Your business has a mind, a soul. Your business has values that resonate within it. And I think one of the things you can do is if you identify who you are. So we're working through a lot of structure right now, SOPs, working through what does it mean? When we say our mission statement, our core values, what does that really mean? So I'm actually working on like a 3 or 4 page document right now, breaking down our core values and what it means to be on our team. I think the more and more you identify that person, that when I say person, I mean your business as a separate entity, the more as a team leader you can leverage that. And I don't know if that makes sense or not, but that's what I'm working on right now is how does live life become live life on its own, apart from, any one of us. It's bigger than us. It's about, it's its own thing. And how do we get to that point? And so that's what I'm excited about right now. Because I think once we figure that out, it's going to help us identify who we want to bring on the team, who we don't want to bring on the team. And it's going to help leverage a lot off of all of us when we identify that person, that entity.
Mr. Paxton, you next, sir.
What was the question, Ethan? I want to make sure.
What are you excited for in the industry, and what do you do to avoid burnout?
I'm excited. First off, I get to go to Disney World tomorrow for my birthday, so that's exciting. I'm very excited in our small team that I've lived in Florida since the beginning of the year, and our team is doing a lot better than it was with me around. So what have I learned from that, and how could I plus that moving forward? Get out of the way so a business can run, better without you in the way. Within the industry, and I'm excited about some tech stuff, team managers, to all these things that internally we're looking at. Within the industry, excited about other opportunities. Obviously, what is it, 1.8 million realtors now, with less and less people hiring a realtor. So and when they do hire a realtor, there's commission compression. I'm actually excited to see what opportunities come up because of all of these challenges out there that are really in our face, and we need to do a better job about opening our eyes and being proactive with it. So I'm excited about those opportunities. How do I prevent burnout? We've all been there. I think anybody that's been around a little bit gets, it's up and down. We talked about family first. I unapologetically decided that we're going to spend the winter in Florida unapologetically. The three, my family, wife, and 2 kids inside, that was, is much more important than any client or JOB type thing. So that helped a lot because I'm really excited April Fool's Day or 1st of April to come back home, dig in. So that is what helped me kind of hedge some burnout. And I feel like I'm getting I'm more efficient when I'm out. So there's just new opportunities that really meditating on and studying there. So
Thank you
that's
all. Well, guys, ladies and gentlemen, I tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and thank these gentlemen for their time. We've gone an hour and 40 minutes. I appreciate you all being here and making the trip. I've also got a showing in 20 minutes. So I was trying to get through without admitting that. Thank you all so very much for your time and spending the last over hour and a half with us. Travis, thank you for coming over from Louisville. Danny, you had a 3.5 to 4 hour drive today.
Exactly.
Yeah. So no, dude, that's Joella's, man. That's Joella's. That's not Zaxby's. That's the good stuff. Thank you everybody that joined us on Zoom today. Are you all okay if we put email out on Facebook groups? If you all heard something today that you want to dive a little bit deeper in on our Facebook group, on the KW Realty page, we'll put emails out there, or get with me. I'll get you in touch with one of these 4 gentlemen and we'll dive deeper. All right, guys, you all have a blessed day. Thank you so much.